Happy WrestleMania weekend, everyone. What's going on? Happy Friday night to you. GoodMicWork back at you with some WrestleMania 36 predictions. And I am about 8 minutes removed from a pretty heavy earthquake here in San Diego. It just hit during John Cena's promo. And I've lived in California for a decade now, and I've felt a few. But this is up there with one of the stronger ones that actually kind of made me get up out of my seat. Most of the time when a little earthquake rumbles through, by the time I recognize what's going on, it's already over type of thing. But this one was like right away. Huge jolt in the apartment here. I'm 3 stories up. And I actually got out of the seat. I didn't even know where to go. I'm like, do I go out on the balcony? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Do I go out the front door? Well, then that might collapse. I don't know. And it rumbled for a solid minute in here. It was a little freaky. So I'm still a little goosebumpy from that, but it looks to be over now. Common thing here, the earthquakes, we don't have like the catastrophic ones down here generally, stuff that's going to topple buildings and shit. But you get those rumblers every so often, and I felt a few, but this one freaked me out. What is going on in this world? 2020, can we go back to 2019, please? Not off to a good start, man. Every single fucking day, I'm scared shitless. That's not a good way to live your life, you know what I mean? But we have to attempt to do business here tonight. I hope you guys are ready for a lot of my bald ass, because you're going to see me for the next 4 straight days. We're going to be up here a lot. Let me give you a rundown of what's going to happen, and then I'll go over and say hello to the chat. Let me make sure I can hear myself. All right, we're good. All right, so here's the weekend schedule. I'm up here right now. We're going to talk WrestleMania predictions. We're going to review the SmackDown that just aired, and we'll talk about the storylines and some of the latest in the COVID-19 stuff, WWE's upcoming schedule, and maybe even a little bit about AEW as well, because apparently they taped a whole bunch of episodes, so they're good to go for a little while. And then we will run through the entire WrestleMania card. Unfortunately, there's no real word on where many of these matches are going to fall, except for like Owens and Seth, who I think they said is Saturday. Otherwise, we don't really know the order of these matches, so I'm just going to predict them all. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be up here for night 1 of WrestleMania. We're going to do a watch-along. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Join me right here on YouTube. I'll have the link up later tonight, and we'll do a full watch-along of all the matches tomorrow. Now, on Sunday, there will not be a watch-along. Sunday, I'm going to live tweet and watch the show and make all my notes. And then immediately following, night 2 of WrestleMania 36, I'll be up here live to do a full, comprehensive review of both days, Saturday and Sunday, because tomorrow will just be a live reaction, and then when it's done, we'll probably share a few thoughts, answer some questions, and I'll get up out of here. And then Sunday, we'll do the more like podcast-style review. And then on Monday, I'll be up here after the post-WrestleMania Raw as well to discuss that. And there probably won't be a ton to get into there, probably just maybe some victory celebrations and a couple of promos, and they're probably going to show a couple of rematches from WrestleMania itself. I wouldn't be surprised. On Monday Night Raw. So it might be one of the more boring post-Mania Raws of all time, but nonetheless, we'll be up here to talk about it. And then after that, we don't really know. Word on the street is WWE is going to have to cease operations for a little while and kind of halt production. That's the word. So if that's going to be the case, I don't know what to expect here for future Raws and SmackDowns. A lot of recap stuff. We saw a 12-year-old match tonight on SmackDown being replayed from WrestleMania 24. I'd like to see more of that. If they're going to be on some sort of a permanent hiatus, I'd like to see more older stuff. Doesn't have to be all within the last 5 years. Show me some mid-90s or some late 90s, early 2000s, mid-2000s. Show us something like that. There's plenty of stuff you can, pull from. But who knows? In the meantime, we've just got to hope for the best, because when you think about it, this is our last, and even though this WrestleMania is extremely different and one of the strangest WrestleManias we've ever dealt with, it's still probably the closest thing to the final weekend of real wrestling we might get for a while, at least in terms of WWE. And that's kind of scary. So I think in terms of this weekend, I think maybe wrestling fans, it would be in everybody's best interest just to try their best to refrain from being a dick. This might be the last wrestling we get for a while. So let's at least try our best to go out with a bang, try to enjoy this as much as possible. I have seen some hot takes on the internet, some rare opinions of people who are saying they're actually looking forward to the lineup for the next couple of days. Even though it's weird, even though it's empty arena, even though many of us are of the opinion this WrestleMania should have never taken place to begin with, WWE, you can't call them like lazy and shit. It feels like they've gone all out on these tapings. Don't forget all these shows we're seeing right now were taped, a week or so back. So they knocked out a bunch of shit at once. And I think under the circumstances, I don't think they should be doing the show, but since they are doing the show, I think they're doing a pretty good enough job of building up several of these matches. And there are still some, despite how fucked up everything is, that I'm still really looking forward to seeing. Edge and Orton being one. The Undertaker this past Monday made me care about the Boneyard match because I didn't before this. But after that promo I saw him cut, which I believe is the best of his entire career, 30 years, best promo he's ever cut. That made me care about the Boneyard match. Cena and Bray Wyatt tonight, same thing. I'm interested to see Drew McIntyre potentially slay the beast. There's a few things on the show that I think are going to be really good, even though it's a complete and total utter catastrophe clusterfuck. They might surprise us. So since it is going to be our final weekend, I don't think it serves any purpose to be a cynical dick or to be a raging lunatic or anything like that. I think we should do our best to accept the shitty situation that we're in and remain as positive as possible, because negativity will get you nowhere in life. It's my opinion. But anyway, let me say hello to everybody in the chat right now. Then we'll start rolling into SmackDown, and then I'll talk about WrestleMania. And I want to knock out a couple super chats because I know a couple of them were coming in right off the bat. Thank you very much, Canyon Price, for the $5. You're awesome. You're a legend. Go Cowboys. Okay, go Cowboys. Why not? I've never been a big Cowboys fan, but I got really nothing against them these days. But growing up in the 90s and the 80s and being a Detroit Lion, being from Detroit where the Lions play and they just suck every fucking year, and I just had to watch Cowboys win all the time, and it got annoying. So, but yeah. Thanks for the donation, brother. I appreciate it. Where's the next one? Justin Konglang. Thank you, man, for the $5. The simp returns. Will you consider doing the old Raw reviews like it happened? Live. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Never got the answer and look forward to more of your vids, bro. No, I didn't know you had sent that along, or maybe I didn't answer it. So you mean like just reviewing the old Raws? I'm doing one. I actually have one in production right now from the night after Survivor Series 2001. But since it's Mania time, I didn't think it was topical to upload a video like that. So the gentleman that I'm doing it for, I told him I would upload that right after WrestleMania. So that will be coming next week. But as far as doing more of that, I'd love to, especially if we have no current content to watch, you know, and WWE kind of slows things down or takes a little bit of a break. I'm going to have to do something. I'm still up here every Monday and every Saturday and up here midweek as well. So I still got to supply content to the channel. And if there's nothing to really talk about outside of wrestling news and behind the scenes stuff, then absolutely I will be reviewing some more shows. Totally. You can bank on that. What's going on, Devlin? Good to see a couple of wrenches up in here holding down the fort. Yeah, all right, we're going to get into SmackDown here in just a second. Let me give you one other programming note as well. On April 11th, technically, April 11th is going to be my 10-year anniversary on YouTube, which is just crazy. Now, back in the old days, like I said a million times, I was very nonchalant about it. It was a side hobby. Sometimes I'd go months at a time without even uploading. I didn't really care. I didn't really super start taking this channel seriously until 2015 when I started the website and I got the podcast out and things like that. So to me, I feel like my heart has been in it for 5 years, but technically we've been going at it for 10. So April 11th is a Saturday. So here's what we're going to do. Saturday is going to be a 2-video day. Up in the morning, I'm going to release a really fun special episode, kind of in the same spirit as the Jericho video. And it's going to be a full video and display of my entire wrestling memorabilia collection, my title belts, my DVDs, my VHS tapes, my collectibles, anything that I have that's wrestling related, even my office setup, because I get questions all the time. How do you produce your commentaries? How do you produce your streams? So basically an entire kind of tour of my setup here. I've been filming that over the last couple of days, and which is great because I'm off now without working due to the virus, so I can utilize the great sunlight that comes into my apartment here and get everything filmed and look nice. And I think it's going to be a fun video. So that'll be up in the morning on the 11th. And then later on that night, I'm going to bump the Winged Eagle podcast from the afternoon to the evening. So I'll probably come up here 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and it'll be more of a celebration. We'll talk about whatever there is to talk about in wrestling. I don't know what there will be. We'll get into the wrestling news. We'll talk about other stuff. I'll crack open a bottle of the Jericho bubbly or something, and we'll toast 10 years on YouTube because it's it's been a long time since I laid backwards on my couch and recorded my first voice memo on my phone and said, I wonder how I upload that to YouTube. I should look into that. And then I did. And then I got a few hundred views for some reason, and No DQ shared it on their website. And the next thing you know, snowball's rolling, and look at where we are now. So it'll be a fun night. At least we'll try to kick back, have some fun, have a Saturday night, social distancing, and we'll party online together. So I hope you guys can join me on April 11th. Mark your calendar. All right. Let's get into SmackDown. Not a whole lot to talk about on tonight's show, except for one big major angle that did drop that surprised me. Other than that, we'll be able to blow this through this pretty quick and jump right into the WrestleMania predictions. Now, they're at the Performance Center still. All this shit was taped, I think, last Wednesday and Thursday. They taped everything up until WrestleMania itself, and the post-WrestleMania Raws and SmackDowns, I believe. And then after that, we don't know. Looks like it's going to be nothing. But we had an opening segment that was supposed to be Miz TV, but the Usos and the New Day were out there. They were jaw-jacking with each other until Miz and Morrison show up, and they're like, hey, it is our show, by the way. That whole thing leads to a brawl, and that was the end of that. Now, they're still promoting this match, this three-way ladder match, but we do know the reports that Miz was held off of WrestleMania due to him being sick and then a precautionary reason, basically. So he's not on the show tomorrow or Sunday. So I don't know what's going to go on here as far as the match goes. We'll get into the predictions here in a minute, but I think it would be silly since the Miz he's not injured. It would be weird to take the belts off him. We'll talk about that when we get to the predictions there. But basically that whole segment to open the show was done to set up a match that's not even going to happen, which is just weird. We had a triple threat. Tamina defeated Lacey and Naomi in a triple threat match. We had Sasha and Bayley on the outside doing commentary of Michael Cole. Michael Cole stirring the pot, trying to get them riled up against each other. They were having none of it, and they were hugging each other and the whole deal. So I've got my opinions on what to do there as well, because a lot of us have kind of penciled in SummerSlam for a big Sasha and Bayley showdown. But with everything going on, there's so many unanswered questions. We don't know if we're going to get a SummerSlam. And that's crazy. We thought for sure initially, oh yeah, by the time we get to May, June, July, all this shit will be behind us. Now it's like, we better hope we get our lives back by the fall, much less the summer. So, I don't know what long-term storyline WWE really has in mind for those two, but I don't think anything is going to come in. I don't think anything's going to really implode yet at WrestleMania. And again, I'll have some more opinions on that when we talk about the predictions. Now, after this, they showed another replay match, which I touched on earlier on. This time, they showed randomly, instead of showing like a Goldberg match or a Strowman match or whatever, or a Cena match or a Bray Wyatt match, they showed Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair from WrestleMania 24. Finally, WWE, and well, actually, I shouldn't say finally. They've showed some pretty good matches. But if there is one match that I think would be appropriate for or I would be proud as a wrestling fan to show on the Fox network on Friday night on prime time when the entire globe is quarantined and a lot of eyeballs than normal are probably on TVs, and you have casual fans or non-fans scrolling through and they see that match and they happen to not change the channel and watch it for a little bit, and they get pulled into the story that's being told, and they watch that finish and they watch that ending, that if wrestling ever had a Hall of Fame or a Smithsonian type of display, that match should be on a little monitor. That finish of that match should be on a little monitor and just played on a loop continuously. It's that good. And if you're going to have any match on Fox shown to a bunch of people, that's an excellent one to choose. So I hope tonight there was a lot of non-wrestling fans just channel surfing and maybe caught the end of that. And I bet you even non-wrestling fans got a little tear in their eye, especially when Shawn kissed him on the forehead. Oh my God. So I was really happy. If they're going to show replay matches, and I know some fans have an asshole-ish opinion about that. I don't want to see that. Stop being brats. What do you expect them to do? They're filling time. There's nothing wrong with that under the circumstances. And I'm cool with them replaying matches. I don't consider it lazy, nothing like that. Even though it's fun to say that and it gets more likes on Twitter, it ain't true. And I'm perfectly fine with them showing past matches, and this one was one of the best ones they've chose yet. Next up on SmackDown, we had a huge angle drop. Well, sort of. It's something that we saw coming. So we have Dolph Ziggler taking on Tucker tonight, one-on-one. Dolph Ziggler, of course, is taking on Otis at WrestleMania tomorrow or Sunday. I don't know. We got the whole deal with Mandy. This is, aside from Edge and Orton, this is the best storyline in WWE, and arguably the best. Arguably, this is even better because I think it's been going on longer. And WWE, it's one of the few, I know the characters have a lot to do with this. I don't know if this exact same storyline written the same way would work with anybody else other than Otis, because Otis himself gets this over. His face just screams sympathy, and everybody loves this guy. If you put some other, just any old Joe in there, I don't know if the fans might be like, oh, this is fucking lame. But Otis is making it work. All the players here are doing their part, and it's one of the better and more well thought out angles WWE's really had. And it was really, I kind of think, intended to be a joke at first, but now it's gotten to the point where you've got legitimate sympathy for Otis, and you want to see him tear that motherfucker apart at WrestleMania. So now this prick Dolph Ziggler's got to face Tucker. Match ends in a DQ. Dolph hits the zigzag on the steel steps on the outside of the ring. Ref calls for the bell. He's about to finish off Tucker, I think, and that's when Mandy and Sonya come out and try to stop him. And then Otis comes out to try to run off Ziggler, and then you get all these weird twitches. Now, I have not seen this before. I've only been kind of eyeballing SmackDown, so if this thing has been shown on TV or there's been little blips of that, I've either missed it or forgotten about it. So you see all these like kind of staticky cut takes, and it's basically like a lot of people were saying it's GTV. It's the return of GTV. And you see this, the truth will be heard is on the screen, and then it shows, just a camera in the backstage area prior to Valentine's Day when Mandy is talking about Otis, and then she puts her phone down and walks away. And as we suspected, that trifling Sonya Deville is up to something. We knew she was behind this, and it shows and confirmed what we as the fans suspected, that she grabbed Mandy's phone, sent that text to Otis that she's going to be late. So then Otis showed up late, and that's when he walked in on Ziggler and Mandy and the whole misunderstanding. And it turns out that it was Sonya all along, and that's how they outed her. And that's always how they do it. The last thing similar to this that I can remember was when the cameraman, after a promo, left the camera on, and like Alexa was caught making fun of Nia Jax's weight or something, and that's how that whole deal, it was kind of like that. But it seems like there's somebody legitimately behind this, and you see a figure of somebody over a hood. It almost looked like it almost reminded me of Jon Moxley right after he left WWE, and he released that Asylum video, and he's got the hood on or whatever. Reminded me of that a little bit. So this is kind of cool. This, number one, it outs Sonya, and it opens the door now for us to get that Randy Savage and Elizabeth moment between Mandy and Otis at WrestleMania, because now Sonya, was, and Mandy stormed away, by the way, and Sonya tried to chase her down. Wait for me. And Sonya wants to be an actor. Don't quit your day job, girl. So she tries to chase Mandy away. Mandy's having none of it. And now we'll see what happens. Now, Mandy is starting to get a little bit annoyed at Dolph Ziggler. He's being a little bit cruel. Now she finds out Sonya was behind this. WrestleMania match happens. Bada bing, bada boom. Everybody gets what they got coming to them. And Otis and Mandy share some sort of disgusting kiss in the ring. I think that's what we as fans all need. And that's what we as fans all deserve, especially in these trying times. We need something that's going to put a smile on our face. And I think it's pretty safe to say that will. So I kind of like what they did there. Now, on the other side of this, like I said, somebody's behind GTV or whatever this is called. I'm just calling it GTV because that's what everybody else is calling it. So whoever this is, start placing your bets. What do you think? We got two options here. This is going to be somebody awesome, or WWE is going to fuck it up, or they're going to drop it before they even reveal who it's going to be. I'm not going to get excited about this GTV thing because this could very well be a goddamn mechanical spider for all we know, just like what was in Rowan's cage. So WWE, based on how they generally screw things like this up, higher power, who ran over Austin, anonymous GM, all that shit, Vince McMahon's illegitimate son. I mean, think about all these examples of who is it or who done it. And every time, 99 times out of 100, it sucks ball sacks. So what makes us think this is going to be any different at all? I don't think it's going to be different at all. I think whoever's under that hood sucks. And it's one of those things I've always complained about this about WWE. You guys have heard me. I've always said this about them. Whenever they have something like this, they start the angle without knowing who it's going to be. That's what sucks. That's what's frustrating, because when you do that, they're like, oh, let's get to it or we'll figure it out. And then by the time it's time to reveal it, you can't think of anybody, and then it's just a lame letdown. Just extremely underwhelming is how these things usually go. So if I'm a betting man, WWE's creative team has no fucking clue who is under that hood. They're going to play it by ear, which never works. And I'm normally more positive than this and more optimistic, but just based on their track record, they don't have a good one. They have a terrible one. And based on every single piece of evidence we've had in the past, this is going to suck. So let's keep our fingers crossed that I'm very, very wrong and that there is a 1% chance that this can actually be good. And if it is going to be somebody good, who do you think it will be? Who do you think should be behind it? Is there somebody that's kind of been out for a while? Is there a free agent floating around there that's been brought in we don't know about? I don't think it would be like somebody like Killer Cross or anybody like that. It would have to be, this would have been an excellent thing. You know what's funny? This would have been an excellent thing for Luke Harper to do if WWE would have kept him. Because we're not really going to get into much AEW here tonight. We're going to have a lot of AEW to talk about in upcoming weeks, it looks like. But one quick opinion I'll give on that is I'm not liking the Brody Lee thing so far. It's 2 straight weeks of it just being a parody of Vince McMahon. I'm like, that's not what the Dark Order, that's not the impression they were giving me upon them first coming in. That's the last thing. Their characteristics have changed, and even their attitude have changed. Their behavior has changed, and I'm not liking it so far. It's only 2 weeks in. They can turn it around and maybe drop a little bit of the Vince stuff, but I'm finding it more to be Brody Lee blowing off his steam and frustration, which he has every right to do, but maybe doing that at the expense of the Exalted One gimmick that could have been a lot bigger than it was. So anyway, this could have been something great for him. Why not? Because Vince doesn't like him because he can't talk with a Southern accent. What the fuck? So anyway, who do you think? What do y'all think that's gonna? Who do you think that's gonna be? Basically. Oh, Ali. Oh man, Jericho and Vanguard won from Wednesday. Fantastic. Did I miss a super chat? Yeah, I missed a couple of them. Let me knock these out before we get into the final couple of matches here on SmackDown. Who did I miss? Where are you? Antoine? Think I saw you in there. Good to see you, man. What's up, dude? Thanks for the $5. That Cena match, I think they are going for... They're going for horror movie Braun. I'm getting his first heavyweight title. Drew may lose. Wait for SummerSlam. I'd be okay with that. I'm still thinking, like, I'm going to spoil it here. Look at when I predict later. I'm going to predict Drew still. Even though the pandemic, to me, is possibly changing the outcome of every match. Especially if they're going to take a break, you have to start just thinking about where is the best place for everybody to be if you are going to take a break in terms of going forward with as little loose ends as possible. And I've kind of based a lot of my predictions on that too. So you might be right in terms of WWE's thinking. They might want to say, hey, if we want to make another megastar in Drew McIntyre, maybe doing that in front of an audience is a better way to get him over, especially if it's right when we're all getting back to our normal lives. It could be a big moment for him, but I also feel like they want to do it now. Do we want to do we want wrestling to suspend business with Goldberg and Brock as champion? Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, and I think the Cena and Bray Wyatt Funhouse match is going to be very cinematic. And it's going to be differently edited, and there's probably going to be some magic tricks as we saw here at the climax of SmackDown, which I'll talk about here in a second. After the, I'm sorry, I had to answer one more super chat, and then I'll go to Daniel Bryan and Nakamura. Nathan Hansen, good to see you. Thanks for the $2, man. Taker vs. Triple H, WrestleMania 28 is what I would have shown. Well, guess what, dude? There's a lot more weeks left, and I hope you're right on that one. That would be another excellent match to show. A lot of twists and turns. Even though it was a Hell in the Cell, there was not really any blood or anything like that, so it would be fine for Fox Television or USA Network or whatever. I think Fox would be better. Yeah, I'm totally into that one. Totally into that one. 4 years after the Flair match. All right. I'm caught up on the super chats. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button for me if you would be so kind. Try to get me up to like 100 likes. Did pass over 5,000 followers on Twitter, although my shit fluctuates pretty hard, so it's going to take me a few days, I think, to clear 5,000, because sometimes I'll wake up the next day and have like 20 less followers. So my shit's always up and down. So I'm probably not completely over 5,000 yet. I'm going to go up and down on that. But for the most part, we've crossed the line here, and hopefully we'll stay over the line as much as possible. So next up, we had Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura. I wasn't paying too much attention to this match. I was getting ready for the stream. I think it ended in a DQ after Cesaro interfered. Gulak was out there to try to help out. And at the end, Daniel Bryan went through a table. So that match was just done to set up Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn at the pay-per-view. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And the final segment of SmackDown was the John Cena promo. And he came out to the ring, cut a promo. He's really defiant in the face of Bray Wyatt's gimmick. And there was even a some backstage interview with Kayla Braxton, is that her name? Yeah, on the YouTube channel or whatever. And John Cena just gives zero fucks about kayfabe. He even called him Husky Harris. He goes, I'm not scared of Bray Wyatt. You got to understand that person, it's just Bray Wyatt. It's just Husky Harris. It's just a man in a mask. And he's been able to get over, and he's been able to be successful by playing and scaring everybody and striking fear into them. And I'm not scared of this bitch. And I kind of love that. Now, a lot of fans might look at that and say, oh my God, Cena's shitting and verbally burying Bray Wyatt. Not really. Not if the outcome that needs to happen in this match happens. I don't think he's shitting on him at all. Because what I think is going to wind up happening there is that's only going to make the Fiend stronger. If John Cena's laughing in the face of his mind games, but then Bray Wyatt winds up actually striking fear, making a believer out of Cena at WrestleMania and beating him. I mean, I'm usually not one to say this person needs to win or this person should win. I hate that, but I'm going to be that guy this time. Bray Wyatt absolutely needs to get his win back, and I believe he will. Like, it would be crazy after they just sacrificed him and he got speared and jackhammered or small packaged by Goldberg. And then he's going to drop a match to Cena after all that build, after all of that character development, after all that investment that you put into repackaging this gimmick. And then you just shit on him 2 months in a row. There's just no way John Cena, Mr. Part-Timer, Mr. I haven't even really wrestled in the past couple of WrestleManias, only on and off. And when I am there, I've either been squashed by The Undertaker or proposing to my girlfriend. So he's not in the position on the card anymore to like win a match like this, especially after Bray lost to Goldberg. So Bray's got to win this here. And them setting this up tonight on SmackDown was kind of like just the final setup, because this was still treated as a challenge. The Funhouse match hasn't been officially announced until Cena accepted tonight on SmackDown. So he did that in the promo. The Fiend then appears on the catwalk there, or the crow's nest up there in the corner. And then there's a quick cut, and then Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt, is in the ring with Cena and freaks him out. Then the lights go out and come back on, and Cena's in the ring by himself. So just like what I said earlier about Cena kind of shitting on the kayfabe a little bit, it's like he's going to slowly start getting convinced. This was the beginning of it tonight on SmackDown. He's like, oh shit, I kind of thought he was just a weird dude in a mask, and now he's really freaking me out a little bit. And then in the Funhouse match, who knows what he's got planned. WWE pre-filmed this. They did this off-site. This was not in the Performance Center. So they got their hands on some pretty cool props, I hope. I mean, I want to see everything under the sun here. If this is going to be a Funhouse match, think of all the shit you can do. I think of something like Tim Burton-ish, like Beetlejuice or something. Just a lot of weird shit, big mallets and crazy mirrors and effects, and I don't know. I hope it's going to be fun, and based on what I've heard and how they're filming it, I think it has a potential to be fun, especially if we're going to see John Cena get put down. So yeah, anyway. That's your SmackDown in a nutshell. Not much to say about it. The best match on the card, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair from 2008. Anywho, let's get into WrestleMania predictions. 16, if I count this right, matches I have written down for this. Holy shit. So I'm assuming 8 on each night. I'm also assuming they're going to be mixed. I don't think it's going to be SmackDown one night and Raw the next, although it could be. I don't think it's going to be that way. I would actually prefer it not be that way. And if it was going to be that way, I think WWE would tell us. SmackDown Saturday and Raw Sunday or whatever. So in case you haven't heard, because WWE doesn't really like to mention this WrestleMania is too big for one night, y'all. Too big for one night. Not sure if you heard that. WWE mentions it like every couple of weeks on TV. But yeah, so that's why it's on 2 nights, is because it's too big. So next year, if it's back to 1 night, it's going to be too small for 2 nights. That's how it goes. So anyway, let's start at the bottom of the card, or what I consider to be the bottom of the card. And when I look at this, I've got every match here right in front of me. This does not look bad on paper at all. I mean, it really doesn't. And it does kind of make you depressed that this is not taking place in front of 80,000 people. I mean, my God, because this is an all right card. If we were going into this WrestleMania, I know there'd be plenty of people saying, oh, this WrestleMania sucks and I don't care about it or whatever. I would care about it. There's easily 4 or 5 matches on here that I'll pay money to see. So let's hope they make the best of it this weekend. All right, we'll start at the bottom. Bobby Lashley taking on Aleister Black. There was talk that Lashley was quarantined. Last I heard, according to Meltzer, that Lashley and Aleister is still a go for WrestleMania. That match did happen and it was filmed. Assuming that it did happen, I'm going Aleister Black. Don't really want to beat him. I think Lashley is an opponent that was completely slapped together with him, and it's a match that I don't even think really needs to happen at all. And if you're going to beat Black for real, I'm not sure if I'm doing it in this environment on the underish of undercards you can possibly have. I'm guessing there's going to be no kickoff show or pre-show. There might be. But there's probably not going to be any matches on that. But this is about as low down on the card as you can get. But I'm still going Aleister Black to pick up the win there. We got Baron Corbin taking on Elias. Now, this match kind of scares me a little bit because Baron Corbin, as much shit as he gets, he's one of WWE's guys. He's had some pretty big matches and some pretty big wins, over the past year, retiring Kurt Angle last year at WrestleMania. This is an awfully big step down for him if he just goes in there and gets beat by Elias, but Elias kind of owes him one because he got tossed off the top of that catwalk there onto the floor. So him getting his revenge here makes sense, but I kind of think Corbin should win. Hey, yeah, can't believe I'm saying that. But part of me thinks that Elias is going to, or something. I just kind of think Elias would have to get his revenge here because, otherwise, what did he take that bump for? So I'm gonna pick Elias. I'm gonna pick Elias to win this match, even though I think Corbin is the stronger, has a stronger spot on the roster. I think Elias kind of has to get revenge here. If they beat Elias again, then you're just burying the shit out of him. Otis taking on Dolph Ziggler, like I said earlier on. Now, a big piece of this puzzle was revealed tonight on SmackDown. Sonya was outed as the one that kind of started all this shit, and that was kind of expected. A lot of us thought it had to be Sonya because they were kind of hinting at that. Some of us even took it one further that maybe Tucker was in on it as well, although based on what we saw Tucker get into tonight, I doubt it. He was beat down pretty hard by Ziggler, and Ziggler was about to take him out before Mandy and Sonya stopped him. So I'm not sure if that really makes sense anymore, but it's possible that Tucker could have been in cahoots with Sonya. Maybe not Ziggler, but Sonya. So maybe there's another piece of this puzzle to be revealed here, and maybe, just maybe, Otis and Mandy don't have their big moment. You know, we're all expecting Otis and Mandy to come together and embrace or kiss or have this great moment at WrestleMania. What if it's like a Lex Luger and $1 Million Man, or I'm sorry, it's a Tatanka and $1 Million Man, like SummerSlam 94 type of thing, where they kind of get you at the end there and throw the swerve at you, and maybe at the end, whatever happens in this Otis and Dolph match, maybe everybody's just laid out, there's all this carnage in the middle of the ring, and the only two people standing are Tucker and Sonya, and then they look at each other and they smile, like Triple H and Stephanie, Armageddon 99, right? They look at each other and smile, and they come together, and oh my God, that's where you need an audience, because the audience would just shit themselves if something like that happened. So it could go that way, but like I said, I think WWE probably, it's in their best interest to put smiles on the fans' faces this weekend, considering everything we're dealing with. So I still think Otis and Mandy have to come together, so I'm predicting Otis to beat Dolph somehow with a shit ton of interference. Everybody's going to be involved in this thing. Mandy, Sonya, Tucker, and probably their pets are all going to be doing run-ins here, and in the end, I think when the smoke clears, it will be Otis. Oh, so everybody, okay, I'm just glancing over here in the chat before I get into the next match. All of y'all are saying Ali. Okay. I'm fine with Ali being the dude. Cool. Antoine, thanks for another $2. Appreciate it. Heard they filmed Cena match at Universal Studios. See? They were somewhere. I mean, they were definitely... I don't think they're going to phone that in. I think they had plenty of time. I mean, think about how much time they've had since they filmed that to piece that together in post, you know, and put it all together and, you know, make it all nice and nice. They're probably going to present something pretty well polished since they've had so much time to kind of put it together. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like. And we got the Boneyard match too. You know, we got Edge and Orton. They're going to be all over the place. So there's a lot of off-site stuff going on. Should be interesting. All right, caught up on the Super Chats. What's next? We've got the Kabuki Warriors defending the tag team titles, women's tag team titles, against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Nikki and Alexa is the team that they beat. I'm going to predict, I'm so torn here because I'm just mortified by, and I said this in my last stream, watching SmackDown last week and Alexa Bliss just beats Asuka clean. What the F, man? Oh my God, that's one of the hardest pills I've ever had to swallow, to have to watch that happen. However, I want Alexa and Nikki to win this match. I never want Alexa beating Asuka clean in a one-on-one match. Never. But as far as this match goes, the Kabukis have had the titles for a while now. Nobody really knows the future of Kairi Sane. Doesn't look like it's very bright in the WWE, and she might be ready to bounce at some point. And I think their tag team title reign has run their course, to be honest with you. They haven't been doing a lot as a team. It's all been Asuka one-on-one matches and stuff. So I'd put the belts on Nikki and Alexa, who've been together for a while now. And they're somewhat over, and Nikki is super entertaining, and I just think it's the move that needs to be made. So I'm going to have Nikki and Alexa regain the tag team titles from the Kabuki Warriors. We've got the Raw tag team titles on the line. Just a thrown together mishmash match here. Street Profits defending against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. It was supposed to be Angel Garza and Andrade. Andrade got injured, so now he was replaced this past week by Austin Theory. And he'll be replaced here in this match as well. But why would you slap this team together? You got this Austin Theory kid who's green as shit. Not green, young, I should say. He's very good, very talented, has got a bright future and everything. But holy shit, is he on the main roster way too early? So to throw him with Garza and put the belts on him? No. Street Profits retain here 100%. The SmackDown tag team titles are also on the line. Supposedly, they set that up tonight. Miz and Morrison defending against the Usos and the New Day in a ladder match. Well, The Miz is out. So what the fuck are they doing? You either have to replace The Miz with a substitute opponent, which will be strange to explain on TV, or you got to change it into a triple threat singles match, ladder match. Morrison, and I'd actually be all right with that. Morrison versus either one of the Usos and Kofi. That would be a good match. And you can somehow still put the tag team titles on the line, maybe. And then that would be so silly, though, if you did that, but potentially that's what you do. And if that happens, regardless of what happens, I guess it doesn't matter. Regardless of what happens, I just think Miz and Morrison will hold on to the belts here. Because like I said earlier, the Miz is not injured. This was, I think, a precautionary measure because he was ill. And Miz and Morrison, they successfully defended him in the chamber after losing a lot. And if Miz isn't even going to be there, for them to lose the titles would be weird. It would give him an automatic reason for a rematch, but why even do that? Just keep the belts on him for now and have him keep rolling. And I think John Morrison needs to win a WrestleMania match. He just came back to the company, you know what I mean? So whatever they do, however this is rectified, who they replace Miz with or whatever they do, I don't know. I just think it's got to be Morrison getting his hand raised, whether that's by himself, whether that's with a different opponent, or whether they scrap this match altogether, keep the blue belts on M&M. Kevin Owens taking on Seth Rollins. This one, I mean, it's hard to bet against Seth Rollins. I mean, he's got a pretty good track record at WrestleMania, and this issue between the two of them has been running pretty deep. They've had their wars before in previous years in the company, but this one is a little bit different, and there are a few more things being said on the mic, and I've been enjoying the mic work, especially by Kevin Owens in this. And Seth Rollins, this Monday Night Messiah bullshit that he set up, this faction, is pretty much obsolete. His AOP members are gone. Buddy Murphy was held off also due to illness. I don't know if he's filmed anything for WrestleMania, if he's going to be by Seth Rollins' side or not. Either way, the Monday Night Messiah is completely decimated. And, I guess with the, with the coronavirus, this might be able to, maybe his Monday Night Messiah can survive since we're taking a break anyway. If life doesn't get back to normal for several months, it might, the AOP might be healthy again to come back and rejoin them. But if that wasn't the case, I would think that they're just going to do away with this Monday Night Messiah, or, Seth's going to have to get some new members. And that's another option here. So trying to put all that into perspective, I'm like, well, I think it's possible with the AOP out that Seth Rollins could defeat Kevin Owens with some help from new Monday Night Messiah members. But then that just drags that shit out even more. Owens is going to want revenge, and then we're going to have more pay-per-view matches, and we just don't know what the future holds. So for that reason, and since Seth really doesn't have a whole lot of backup right now, if he's going in there by himself, you got to pick Kevin Owens to get the win here. And then maybe after this, that's when Seth gets some replacement members. He brings somebody else in to join his Messiah, maybe in a rematch with Owens on TV, on Raw, or whatever, whenever we get things back to normal. And that's where Seth debuts the new members and gets his win back over Owens, and then Owens can go off and do something else, and Seth has got his faction that he can continue. Or the whole thing's just scrapped. But for WrestleMania, let's go Kevin Owens on that. Daniel Bryan challenging Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. Normally, I would not want to shift the title this much. Strowman just dropped it. Now it's Sami's. Now you're passing it to Bryan. Normally, hot potatoing is something that I don't like. And also, transitional champions are something that I really don't like. And if it was anybody else other than Sami, I'm like, they wouldn't do that to him, making him a transitional champion. But when has WWE ever done the right fucking thing with Sami Zayn? So I would not be at all surprised if they yanked that strap off of him the minute they put it on him, and he's literally a transitional champion, so they can move the Intercontinental title into the Bryan and Gulak storyline without Bryan having to defeat Braun Strowman. Strowman got put down by Sami and his cohorts, and then Sami held the belt for a bit to pass it to Bryan. That probably is the better move there if you want to get the belt on Bryan so he can work with Gulak. Sami being that middleman is actually a good way to do it. So I think Bryan's going to win the Intercontinental title. And I had mentioned, we've been talking about Brie is pregnant, and he has gone on record, or somehow, it's been revealed that he will be taking time off, significant time off, when the baby is born. So they give him a quick run here with the IC belt. He can work with Gulak, pass the belt to Gulak, a guy who Bryan really wants to work with and has said as much in interviews. And he beat him in Elimination Chamber, giving Gulak the win back and the title on top of it. Would be a good, a mid-level torch passing. Daniel Bryan, think about it's just a solid dude he is. He's trying to work with guys that he feels like will benefit from working with him, especially if he puts them over and shit. Think of that mentality. A lot of guys don't have that. The Shawns and the Kevin Nashes and the Hogans, they don't have that. They want to win till they're dead. Daniel Bryan's like, why don't we utilize my last few years left, for me to pass on this to somebody else and somebody can be the new me, or whatever, or kind of have my spot. And, I don't know, Daniel Bryan could do whatever he can to Drew Gulak. For Drew Gulak, it's going to be up to WWE, this guy's fate. And knowing WWE, they can't be trusted. But you got to hand it to Daniel Bryan for at least trying. And if this turns out to be something where Gulak is, handed the title in the end, I think I'm all on board with that. So I'm going to predict Daniel Bryan to win the Intercontinental title, which will be, the second time he's won the IC title at WrestleMania. He won the ladder match at 31, right? Let me go up here and knock out a couple of super chats because I see some yellow ones coming in my peripherals. Where are we at? I've got Nathan. Oh, I've got another one from you. Let me make sure there was nobody above you. Oh, you were above you. All right. Nathan first. Thanks, brother, for $2 more. I appreciate it. Would have been leaving for Tampa tomorrow morning. Well, wow, you're going late. I was thinking a lot of people would already be there. Probably like by last Tuesday and Wednesday was when people were going to start rolling into Tampa. I mean, we're missing out on a great weekend of wrestling right now. You're supposed to have the WrestleCon and all the indie conventions and all the YouTube shit going on and the Hall of Fame and TakeOver. Think about all the stuff we've lost. It's just so unbelievably depressing and sad. Man. Antoine Fair, thank you again, man, for $2 more as well. Heard they filmed the... Oh, I got you already. Shit, sorry. Spaz. What's up, man? Go sub Spaz Phoenix's YouTube channel. He's got a great one. Thanks for the $10, dude. Streaming my own predictions now as well. You and your great fans can catch the replay when you're done or catch it in pod form. Hope things are well in good mic land. Yeah, they're pretty well. I mean, they're okay in good mic land. We're in the middle of a pandemic and I can't leave my house. But other than that, things are all right. I'm surviving. We'll talk a little bit more about that here later before we sign off. Zane, thank you, man, for the $10. I appreciate that as well. With WWE taking a break from production after WrestleMania, would WWE be able to build towards SummerSlam and then come back to fill the void and build up for the May, June, and July pay-per-view? I don't know. I don't know their taping schedule. Like, I have no idea. I mean, it sounds like they're really going to be handcuffed, or it might not be worth the trouble to just completely look for these places out of desperation to be able to film TV. It's probably just best to wait this thing out, until some of the public gathering restrictions are lifted or at least eased to where you can go back to what you were doing with the empty arena stuff, because I think that will come first. It won't be like overnight. We just all of a sudden have no more restrictions anymore. Oh, back to normal, go out to eat and go do all this. I think it's going to be slowly. I think it's going to be, okay, gathering's okay. Okay, going to the grocery store is okay. Slowly. So when some of those, restrictions are lifted a little bit, which allows WWE the freedom to produce TV again, I think they will. And then we'll be back to the empty arena stuff for a little while until it's okay to, go back out in the world and sell tickets and attend shows and shit. So that's what I think is going to happen first, where we got the empty arena stuff now. We'll get a break from everything. And then when it's okay and it slowly starts getting lifted, you ease yourself, toes first into the water type of thing, until you can get fully back to normal. That's what I expect them to do. So I don't think this is going to be the complete end of the empty arena matches and shows. I think they're going to come back. So if they do, I think WWE is going to try to build towards SummerSlam, which just sucks. I mean, SummerSlam and a little in the Performance Center. Oh my God. That's a realistic possibility now. They've already canceled Money in the Bank, which really sucks because that would be super fun. I was thinking about the Money in the Bank too, in terms of like, you could just use that as a way to get Sasha and Bayley together too, have Sasha win the Money in the Bank or something. Kevin Owens would be a great guy to win the Money in the Bank. He could crash a Goldberg match and beat him for the title and give me my fucking belt back, asshole, from all those years ago when he took it from him. Something like that would be fun, but now we're going to get no Money in the Bank. So it's impossible to think about how they're going to do it because we don't know when they can start doing it. There's just too many unanswered questions. So Zane, your guess is as good as mine on that stuff. I was talking to my buddy Daniel on the phone yesterday or the other day, and he mentioned something about maybe doing like a WrestleMania Reloaded, kind of doing the matches again or do another big show, but you're going to be so close to SummerSlam by that point. And then if you waited until others after SummerSlam and did it in the fall, then you're really close to the next WrestleMania. And plus you got Saudi Arabia shows that may or may not happen now, probably not. But if they do happen, that makes me think if WWE is going to try to push a WrestleMania back to the fans, it's going to be something over there, or whatever. So I don't know. Either way, I'm not liking the way the future looks, to be totally honest with you. Nathan Hansen, thanks, man. Thoughts on, oh, here you go. That's a good possibility. Thoughts on Money in the Bank matches being held at SummerSlam? That is a fantastic idea. Didn't even think about that. That's what they should do. You know, I'm okay with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but every other gimmick pay-per-view, I'm not. I hate Hell in the Cell. I hate TLC. I hate Elimination Chamber. We don't need any of that shit. And the Money in the Bank matches can really be put in that same category. You know, you could put them at SummerSlam. That would be two big matches on your card right off the bat. You know, that would be really interesting. You know, they used to have the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania back in the day, moving it at SummerSlam just so you can get briefcase holders, because you need those guys with briefcases, you know? It makes it so much fun. I haven't liked the last couple of years when they've cashed out the briefcases really early. I'm like, have somebody hold on to this damn thing for a year, 8 months or something like that. Would be so much fun. So yeah, moving and shifting those to SummerSlam, absolutely brilliant idea, and they absolutely should do it. At least that's my hope. Joshua Aparicio, thank you, brother. Appreciate the $2. I think Kane is too busy for WrestleMania. Yeah, what's Kane up to? Yeah, Kane I don't think is going to be involved this year doing anything. All right, where do we leave off on these predictions? We just wrapped up talking about Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. I've got Bryan winning the IC title there. Let's talk about this Bayley match. So she's got to defend her title in a 5-way elimination match against Tamina, Lacey Evans, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. Who was in this before? Somebody dropped out because they were sick. Dana Brooke, I think, was pulled from this match. So it's now a 5-way. It's an elimination. So the elimination opens up all sorts of doors here. Now, I've always had the opinion for the past several weeks on TV that Bayley should just remain champion until they get to the payoff with Sasha. Whenever that's going to be, if it's going to be in Boston at SummerSlam, that's where Sasha's from, but that doesn't mean shit because WWE never puts anybody over in their hometown. But that could be, you know, we've all been looking at SummerSlam as the date for these two to finally come together. So how do you do that? Do you have Bayley retain here, which I think I'd prefer? Or since it's an elimination, you can have Bayley drop the belt here without Sasha necessarily screwing her, you know? You could have something happen here between the two of them. Maybe Bayley catches Sasha with a quick roll up and eliminates her. I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, it's every woman for themselves. What do you expect? Or, you know, you see somebody pin Bayley and then Sasha then pins that person, winning the title, but never really had to do anything to Bayley. And then Bayley has to act happy for her friend, but you know, on the inside, she's pissed. And then that implodes. And then you get your one-on-one match with Sasha defending the title at SummerSlam instead of challenging for it. Or you flop the belt a couple of times. If there was no coronavirus right now, you might do that. You might have Sasha win it in some bullshit way, and then Bayley wins it back, and then you finally have the head-to-head clash at SummerSlam. But I'm still going Bayley. I just think Bayley should retain. I know Bayley's not everybody's favorite, but swapping the belt here with so much unanswered questions and with enough title changes likely going to happen here, I'd probably keep the belt on Bayley in this match. We're going to stay on the subject of the women here, talk about the other two as well. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Again, the coronavirus has so much to do in my mind with the booking of this match. If I'm of the assumption that things are going to halt, then I think maybe you keep the belt on Rhea here. I think Rhea, I've been in love with Rhea. I absolutely would love it and think it would be marvelous if she put down the queen. But if this match was in Tampa in front of 80,000 people, I would have no issue at all with Charlotte beating her here, taking the NXT title to NXT for a little while. She don't have to be there forever. Just work a few matches down there, a couple fresh matches with some new people, give us something different to look at while Shayna and Becky do their thing on Raw, and then she can drop the belt back to Rhea before resurfacing on one of the main rosters. That is a scenario I would have been perfectly fine with. But the fans wouldn't have accepted that because the minute Charlotte won, it was going to be World War fucking 3 in these people's minds, and it was going to be a huge fucking headache. But now with the virus and everything, even though me personally, I'm one of the only people that would be fine with Charlotte winning the NXT title and being NXT champion for a little while, I don't see it happening here. I think Rhea should retain somehow. Whether it's a quick victory or whatever the fuck, I don't know. I think she should retain. I'm nervous that she will, though, because Charlotte, you got to remember, she's missed WrestleMania, and she did not win last year. I think the year before she did. So maybe, you know, is she going to drop two big WrestleMania matches in a row? Part of me thinks Charlotte's going to win this, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to predict Rhea Ripley. I don't know why. I think I'm going to regret that decision. I really think I'm going to regret that decision, but I just think in the circumstances that's going on right now and how hard you put Rhea over, don't forget who she beat. You know, and if the next match goes the way I think it's going to go, that's going to make Rhea look even fucking stronger. If she won the title the way she did, and then she puts down Charlotte, and then her, you know, the person she won the belt from goes on to do a couple of things here. Yeah, I think Rhea's the right choice. So let's go Rhea Ripley, even though I'm probably wrong. Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's title against Shayna Baszler. Again, the coronavirus. If there's no coronavirus, I feel like it would be Shayna Baszler, but there's a lot of variables here. Becky Lynch has been dropping Ronda Rousey's name a lot. I know Ronda's going to be back at some point, at some fucking point. At this point, I'd rather wait until fans can come back. I don't want to see Ronda show up in an empty arena scenario. And if she was down there during the tapings, I think that probably would have gotten leaked, and I didn't hear anything about it, or I don't think we did. So I don't know if she's necessarily getting involved here. But considering how hard they put Shayna over in that Elimination Chamber, Becky has held the title for a year. She's wearing on the fans' nerves. People are starting to turn on her like they turn on every fucking buddy. So, yeah, it's so funny. Is Shayna had that long run in NXT, and every fucking match she had, everybody was telling me how she should drop the belt. She should drop it to Bianca. She should drop it to Kairi Sane. Now they're in that same situation with Becky. They just do not like long-term champions. Doesn't matter who you are. Hold the belt for a long time. You're public enemy number one. But anyway, I think that it's not the environment that I'd choose, an empty arena setting for Becky's year-long run to end, but I still think it needs to, because if she beats Shayna Baszler clean, then what the fuck? She's not buried by any means. I mean, it's Becky Lynch. You know, the WWE put her over strong, first woman to main event WrestleMania, won the title, year-long champion, totally dominant. There's no shame in losing to her, but I just wouldn't do that. I'd put the belt on Shayna here. Keep her as that badass. Becky can now chase the title for a couple of rematches, and then you get Ronda involved somewhere. I don't know. But for the purposes of this match, I kind of hope Shayna wins the title. You know, and this would be okay because she didn't get a ton of reaction from the fans anyway. Remember Elimination Chamber? I kind of liked what they did. I was one of the few fans that liked her just choking out every fucking bitch in there. I was cool with that. But everybody that was poorly booked and boring and shit, not me. I was cool with it. So... But when she did that, the audience clearly did not feel like me. They clearly weren't that into it, and it was quiet. And it did slow things down a little bit, and she didn't get much of a reaction. So, perfect opportunity to put the belt on her here. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be kind of scary, especially if she, like, puts Becky down, chokes her out, and Becky's got some, like, blood coming out of her mouth. And then Baszler is just sitting there with the title in stone silence. It would be kind of eerie. Like, you might be a little bit scared of her. She'd kick my ass. I know that if we ever got into it. So let's go Shayna on that. Let's have Shayna win the Raw Women's title from Becky Lynch, and the year-long run of Becky finally comes to an end. We've got AJ Styles versus The Undertaker, and after I get into this match, we got the 4 big ones left, and I will knock out these super chats from Ajax and Sony and A Level. Okay, we got some good ones in here. All right, let's talk about this AJ and Taker match first. Boneyard match. Now, I mentioned a little while ago, this past week on Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, was the greatest Undertaker promo of all time. Only because he doesn't have a humongous body of work. We've seen him cut plenty of promos, but most of those promos have been as the dead man. A lot of it is kind of the same. He got a little heated with Shawn here or there and you know, blurted out some shoot comments and some truths here or there. But it hasn't been since the American Badass or the Biker Undertaker or Big Evil that we've really heard him talk like this. And even when like DDP was stalking his wife, I didn't get that emotion out of the Undertaker. He was more of that badass. Like one of my favorite things the Undertaker did was when he faced DDP finally, because that whole thing sucked, but he got him in a cage, right? Wasn't it like King of the Ring? I think it was King of the Ring. Or maybe it was Vengeance. I don't know. What the fuck? So he faces DDP. Oh, maybe it was SummerSlam. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whenever that friggin' cage match was, or whenever the first match between them was, Undertaker kind of slowly comes down to the ring, and he just stands on the outside of the ring while DDP's in there waiting to get his ass kicked, and he's just slowly putting his gloves on. Just taking his time. No rush, because as soon as he gets in there, DDP's going to be dead, and he's just making him wait. He's torturing him with the waiting, you know? I loved that. But even in those times, I didn't feel that emotion from The Undertaker. He didn't seem like somebody that wanted to legitimately kill another man, where here he kind of did. You know, the whole promo, the whole setup, the whole the atmosphere around him was really well done. I listened to what he said instead of just kind of eyeballing what he said. And it was believable, and probably one of his more heartfelt, believable, real promos ever, to where, you know, you could see him in like in an acting role. You know, WWE sometimes can shine a certain light on people that was like, yeah, you know, he's He's got the ability, he's got the presence and the ability to talk to a camera and get his point across, and he doesn't look like he's reading lines off a script or memorizing lines off a script. He's delivering his shit with emotion, and that was made extremely clear on Monday night, and Undertaker made me care about this match because we laughed our ass off. I laughed my ass off when AJ says, Undertaker, I'm going to challenge you to a boneyard match. I'm like, what the fuck is a boneyard match? Sounds ridiculous. Sounds silly. Sounds hokey. What are you going to do? Wrestle just bones everywhere in a fake graveyard with fake styrofoam tombstones and shit? You know, it's just going to be something just silly like that. But now I feel like it might be pretty good. Who's going to win this match, you say? Who do you think? It's going to be Undertaker here, especially with AJ bringing in Undertaker's wife. You think Undertaker's going to allow his wife to get shit on and then he's going to lose to somebody half his size? I think AJ is better piece of talent, a better part in his career right now, and he's a legit contender for any title in the company, and he probably should on paper win this match, but he ain't gonna. It's the Undertaker. And I've been saying, even last summer, I made an entire video dedicated to this subject. This year, November 22nd, 1990, is the 30-year anniversary of the Undertaker's debut in the WWE in 1990. This year in 2020, that is. 30-year anniversary. And I've been saying all along that WWE should hold Survivor Series on that day because it is a Sunday, and that should be the Undertaker's final match. Finally, that should be it, retiring at the 30th anniversary to the day of when he debuted. There is not a better time to do it. And I was passionate about that, enough so that I made a whole entire video about why that should be the case. However, who's to say life is back to normal, man? We don't know what to expect. We don't know. If we're even going to get a Survivor Series, I would hope this shit's over by then, before we get into the winter time again, and then it's flu season. But if it's not, and there's no guarantee that by the fall, you know, shit's back together, is the Undertaker going to lose potentially his last match? Because what if shit never gets back together? What if 2 years go by and we can't go to wrestling shows? And the Undertaker is just getting older, and then next thing you know, he can't wrestle a match, even if he wanted to, and that means the last match he had, he lost to AJ Styles, a man who insulted his wife and beat him in a graveyard. No, it's going to be Undertaker all the way. And I know that's looking way ahead, and that's a lot of speculation, but you have to think about somebody like Undertaker or somebody else extremely old. If things don't get better and this thing gets worse, and this is a year-long, process here to get on the other side of this, we might not see the Undertaker wrestle again, so this might have to be his last match. But either way, I don't see him losing here, and I would assume Michelle McCool is going to get involved, if she's going to show up, because Gallows and Anderson will be there. So Undertaker might have to fend off them, and maybe Michelle McCool comes in and nails AJ with a low blow or something, and then Undertaker buries him in the grave or whatever the hell happens here. I don't think it's going to be a pin. Well, it might be a pin. I don't know if you have to bury your opponent or what you have to do or just incapacitate him. But Undertaker's going to win this match. He is. What else can you do? And I guess that's fine. I mean, given the story here that I initially was resistant to, it's turned out pretty good. And like I said, Taker made me believe last week on Raw. Let me knock out some of these super chats that are rolling in. First one from A. Lovell. Thank you, man, for the $10. I appreciate it. Stay safe and healthy. Good mic work. I appreciate that, man. You do the same. You guys all do the same. Please, because I know shit's gnarly out there. Sunny Horizon. Thank you, Sunny Horizons. Excuse me. Thank you for the $2, man. No comment there. Just a donation. I appreciate it. Ajax Johnson. Thank you so much for $5. I wonder what the WrestleMania stage setup would have been this year. Me too, man. If the virus didn't hit, couldn't have been worse than last year's laziness. I didn't like last year's either. I remember putting it on Twitter a few weeks ago prior to the pandemic when we were all thinking that WrestleMania was going to get canceled, and it likely would. I was wondering, I'm like, are they starting to put the set up? Because normally when you're 2 or 3 weeks out, you start the foundation of that thing. It takes a long time to assemble. You can't do that shit in 3 days. So I was like, what are they going to do? Even if they don't know, I guess that means they have to build the set. They have to use all that manpower to build that to potentially never use it. But luckily, I think the decision was made before they had to unveil that thing. But yeah, they still had to spend the money on it to construct all that stuff and get it ready. So yeah, they probably lost a lot of money on that too, just on the set pieces that they had made. Crazy. Jordan Smith, thanks for the $2, man. Appreciate it. Who will be the Unholy Alliance at Mania with Taker? I don't know what that means. Are they? Do you think Taker's going to have some help? Did he say that, or did I miss that in his promo? Taker will. The Rock is coming. I don't know if The Rock is coming. I don't know. God, you guys are all predicting some sort of Taker ally here. I don't know if I missed something and I wasn't aware that he teased that. I don't know. Either way, Taker's winning this match, faux show. But yeah, I don't know what to expect there. Anyway, all right, that caught up on the super chats. Oh, Jesus, let me get rid of this idiot spamming shit, and then we will get into what's the next match on my list. I've got John Cena and Bray Wyatt to talk about. So that match is up. It's going to be a Firefly Funhouse match. Cena accepted the challenge tonight on SmackDown, so that match is official. And we've got the final build there, and based on everything that we've seen, and John Cena kind of coming in to work this match, and Cena trying to give off that impression that he's kind of unselfish. He even started his promo prior to the match with Wyatt being set up, saying that WrestleMania should go on without me. You know, I've been taking time off. I'm a hypocrite because I shit on The Rock for doing the same thing I'm doing now. If he means that, if he's not only unselfish in kayfabe, but he's unselfish in person, then of course, Wyatt needs to win here. And I believe he will. I mean, I just think it would make zero sense at all. I know back in the day, Cena always wins, LOL, all that stuff, but it's not the same thing anymore. John Cena's been virtually kind of out of our lives for the last, 5 years? When was the last time he was world champion? I don't remember. If he was, it was for a cup of coffee. Yeah, I mean, I think, he's won the title again, but the thing with AJ, right? Didn't he win the title there and drop it to him? Something like that. Anyway, it's been a while since Cena's been up our asses in here. A win for him here, especially when we're not going to see him again, would make no sense. Bray Wyatt, lost the match to him at WrestleMania 30. It's part of the reason why Wyatt says he is who he is now. John Cena's been blowing off the Fiend character. You don't scare me, you crazy little dipshit with a mask. You're just a man in a mask. That's all you are. You're nothing. Well, he's going to find out that Bray Wyatt is something, and I think he freaked him out a little bit tonight on SmackDown. And then in the Firefly Funhouse match, he's going to make a believer out of John Cena. And not only will he beat John Cena, he will scare John Cena. I think John Cena will get legitimately creeped out by a guy who thought was just a man in a mask. And I think that's all kind of part of it here. So I'm going Bray Wyatt to win this match. He better. If he doesn't, I don't know what the fuck to tell you guys. Randy Orton taking on Edge. If you have to ask me what one match I'm looking forward to the most on this pay-per-view, this is it. Still feel for Edge. I hate that his return match after 9 years, Edge is one of my favorite guys in the fucking wrestling business, and have to see him come back like this. The poor guy debuts or returns to the ring the day Kobe Bryant died, which doesn't really matter, but it definitely, for me, my kind of mind was elsewhere. So even though I definitely marked out for Edge coming back, and I'll never forget that look on his face, it was like, that was still in the back of my mind. Now he's having his return match, and there's no fans here, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So Edge has not had the best luck so far with his return, but he has maintained an unbelievable attitude, hopping in his truck and driving 17 hours down to Orlando to make those TV tapings to cut one fucking promo. Despite everything that we're going through here, he is all in on this. His promo this past week on Raw was fantastic, just as good as The Undertaker's. And even though we have no audience here, I want to see this one. I wish it could be in front of 80,000 people. I wish Edge could have that WrestleMania entrance that he so deserves, to be back and to soak all that in. He had it at the Royal Rumble, but, the true one would have been here. I wanted that so incredibly bad for him, and my heart just aches that he can't have that. But according to the reports, he signed a 3-year deal, so if we can get out of the other side of this pandemic, he will have many more matches to come and a lot of more great moments. But is somebody who just thinks he's just an amazing dude and a great wrestler. I just wish he could have his moment here. But who's going to win this match? Who do y'all think? Is there any doubt at all? It's got to be Edge. He's not going to drop this match to Orton, man. Orton's going to put him over. Of course he is. Edge is going to win here, and hopefully Edge will go on to do a lot more great things. Now, Edge's 24 doc, that's another reason why he's going to win this match. He's not going to lose. The 24 documentary is going to air Sunday night after WrestleMania, which makes me think that Edge and Orton will be on night 2 when they release that 24 doc on the network. I'm really excited to see that because we talked about that after the Royal Rumble. I'm pretty sure we talked about it the night of the Royal Rumble when Edge came back and you saw that look and that emotion on his face. I mean, I've never felt, I can't even think of my whole entire wrestling life where I was pierced with emotion through my heart seeing that and just seeing the story that was being told just with his eyes. Holy shit, I'm doing it kind of thing. You knew exactly what was going on in his head, so we said that night, I'm like, there is probably some amazing behind the scenes footage of this Beth Phoenix giving him a kiss before he goes through Gorilla, and out to the crowd, and all that shit. We're going to see that. So that's going to be good stuff on Sunday night. I'm really excited to see that. And just a couple of nights ago, the missus and I sat down and we watched right here. We watched this. The Story of Edge DVD that came out the year after he retired, I believe in 2012. And this is one of the best DVDs they've ever done. And I tweeted a picture of that today and got a like from Edge on Twitter. But that was an awesome documentary to watch on the heels of this new one coming out. It's like we get to watch the next chapter. So if you've never seen that, it's probably on the network. You can probably find it super easy. Before Sunday, check out Edge's old documentary from back in 2012. Really well done piece. It's like 2 hours long. I did a review of it back in the day. You can find it on my channel. I did it 4 years ago in 2016. So you can find that Edge DVD review and hear what I had to say about it back in 2016. But it's a good watch. And I think for the purposes of, being a fan of Edge and us being so happy that he's back and his next chapter and his next story is going to be told here at WrestleMania, and then they're going to, show the behind the scenes footage of his return at the beginning of the year on the network. I think that's great. So if you got nothing to do and you're looking for something to watch, check out Story of Edge. You'll love it. But Edge is going to defeat Randy Orton, to me, hands down, for sure. That leaves us with the 2 title matches. But before we get into that, let me take a sip of water and let me answer super chats because I see a bunch rolling in. Thank you, Vontae. I must have missed that. I sit there and put over how I listened to every word the Undertaker said, but apparently I didn't. Unholy Trinity with him. I don't know. Damn. Anyway, I'll answer that again here in a minute. Let me scroll back up and knock out a couple of other ones. Thank you to How Wheezy and the other mods in here monitoring some of this for me. Appreciate it. What else did I miss? There's one from Jordan. All right, I'm just scrolling up so I don't miss anybody because sometimes I have the tendency to do that. All right, first one is from Jordan Smith. Thank you for the $2. Yeah, this Unholy Alliance, I didn't hear that. I wasn't even aware. I haven't had time to really process that. So I don't know. The Unholy Alliance. Who the hell could Undertaker be bringing as backup? Well, that's kind of good. At least it's not going to be the Undertaker beating all 3 guys' asses and then beating AJ and winning. At least if he's going to win, he's going to have some help, and it won't be a true burial of AJ, even though he might get literally buried in this boneyard. I don't know. I'm going to stay tuned to me on Twitter. Make sure you follow me if you haven't already, because if I have any ideas on that, I'll tweet them out to you. Michael Cuomo, good to see you, man. Thanks for the $5. I heard your name yesterday. I actually tweeted this yesterday when I was filming for my memorabilia video that's coming out on April 11th. I was doing a lot of filming here while the light was coming in, and I put on Solomonster's WrestleMania. I think it was his WrestleMania predictions. I was listening to one of his recent podcasts, just on in the background, like half-assed listening to it, and I heard your name come up. I think you sent him a super chat. So anyway, good to see you in here again, Michael. As always, you're a generous supporter on Patreon as well. I think the Spanish flu is the best guide we can use for the pandemic we are in. That's very true. Viruses and flus go down during the summer, but come back in the fall. Yeah, that's what they said about that Spanish flu. That was in 1918 or 1920, something like that. And it hit hard, killed fucking hundreds of thousands of people, subsided in the summer, but then came right back and nailed everybody again in the wintertime. And that is the closest pandemic and the closest type of illness that we're dealing with right now. Still not the same thing, but the closest thing we've seen as a society, and that was 100 years ago now. So yeah, that's all we have to draw back from. But now, luckily, just medicine and everything is just better technology-wise, and as far as telling people what to do and the proper things to do. A lot of misinformation out there as well, but you're probably flying blind back then in 1918 when people were shitting in the woods, So I'm glad at least we're dealing with it in modern times, and we can do our best to ride it out. But yeah, I think you're right on that. Vontae, nailed you earlier on. Thanks for the $5, dude. Taker said he is bringing Holy Trinity with him. So yeah, just like I said, if I have any ideas, I'll mention that to you guys on the social meds. Zane, appreciate another $10, man. Very generous. Sorry for the dumb question. With WrestleMania and Raw being taped weeks ago, wouldn't have been suitable to have McIntyre with the championship by now, depending on the outcome. You mean to have McIntyre win the championship now? Not sure how you mean that. And I do think the tapings did overlap a bit. I want to say they might have taped the Raws and even the Raw after WrestleMania before they taped the WrestleMania matches. So Drew McIntyre, if he wins the title, I think he had his like Monday Night Raw shit filmed. He was probably with the title as the champion before he even physically beat Brock the next day during the tapings. So I don't know. I'm not sure quite how you're wording that, but I'm about to talk about that match in a minute as far as who I'm picking. Thanks, How Weezy. Appreciate it. Greg is under the hood. If you can't fool his buddy, that's me under there. I'm GTV. Greg TV, right? I think the anonymous general manager is behind GTV. We'll never find out who that is. What's the other one that they never paid off? There was one in WCW, the guy in the limo. I remember the limo. I mean, there's been a million limos on TV, but that was like one of WCW's first like whodunits. It's like, who was in the limo? And then I don't think anybody was ever revealed to be in the limo. So yeah, I don't know. Jeez, we got some weirdos in here. We still got to talk about the final two title matches for WrestleMania. I'm just doing some housekeeping in here. Knocking out a few fools. Decent audience in here tonight. Not great, but we've maintained a couple hundred people as an audience. Thanks for the likes on that, guys. Keep hitting them, though, for me. If you can get me up to over 100 or 150 likes, I would love you forever. Love you forever. And I'll be seeing you all tomorrow. All right, let's knock out these final two matches for WrestleMania, the two world title matches. The first one's interesting. Holy shit. I missed it. I think I was in the other room, but did they just casually tonight on SmackDown just, oh, by the way, it's going to be Braun Strowman versus Goldberg now at WrestleMania after having the fucking contract signing 2 weeks ago to close out the show. And the match has still been advertised all over the place. Now, Roman and Goldberg is kind of interesting because they were going, I was assuming they were filming an angle tonight on SmackDown, or they were waiting to the day of WrestleMania itself to film the angle, maybe an injury angle, maybe Roman gets attacked from behind, knocked out of the match or something. And they would replace him with Braun Strowman. We know it's going to be Braun Strowman. That was leaked. But tonight on SmackDown, they were just like right before Otis and Ziggler, they just said something about it. Like, oh, it's going to be Braun Strowman and Goldberg now. No explanation, nothing like that. Now, a couple days ago on social media, on Instagram, Roman Reigns posted a video of himself explaining himself to the fans about why he made the decision he made. And I ran to his defense right away, saying, Roman, you don't owe anybody an explanation. Fuck these fans. The nerve. These pieces of shit sleep until noon, playing video games and stuffing Doritos up their ass are going to pass judgment on you for doing what's best for yourself and your family and your health. I couldn't believe he even explained himself. What a nice guy that Roman Reigns is, to have to explain himself to a bunch of entitled assholes. He doesn't owe anyone anything. He has a right to do whatever he wants and whatever's best for himself. And the WWE didn't fight him on that. He said, I don't feel comfortable working. No problem, Roman. You're not in the match. We understand. And I would never in a million years have some sort of a strong opinion on that. That is a one man's life that nobody else can control. Would you want somebody telling you what to do? You know, like, you should be able to make your own decisions for yourself and what's best for yourself. And I couldn't believe poor Roman felt the need to have to go and explain himself. F that. Doesn't have to explain himself to me or anybody. Kind of disappointed that he did. He should have made a video saying, fuck y'all, I'll do what I want. That's what I would have said. But instead, you know, he's trying to say, you know, look, I just had to do the best thing for my friends and my family, or my family and myself. But the problem is he uploaded that prior to WWE making the announcement on TV, or prior to WWE running and airing the angle that they likely filmed to get him out of the match. And I even saw Triple H was quoted somewhere this week saying that Roman's WrestleMania story is like unique or creative, which I speculated when Roman was pulled from the show. We talked about this in the last couple of streams. I said, how are they going to explain this? If I had to guess, they would run an angle. Because if you've noticed, WWE does not like mentioning the coronavirus. They don't like talking about it for some reason. So I don't think they would just be honest and say, look, due to the coronavirus, Roman Reigns has decided to pull out of the Universal Championship match. That's not honesty I think WWE would have with us. They try to blow smoke. They try to make some shit up. So I thought they filmed something. But then Roman releases that Instagram video explaining himself prior to WWE letting everybody know. So it's like sometimes WWE likes to use social media to break news, and then other times they like to pretend social media doesn't exist by still advertising Roman versus Goldberg, despite Roman saying it's not going to be Roman versus Goldberg. So the whole thing is kind of weird. So now after Triple H even says, oh, you'll be surprised to see what we do with the Roman situation, Well, tonight on SmackDown, they just said he was replaced by Braun Strowman. So maybe something's still happening. I'm not going to throw my hands up and say, oh, what a bunch of lazy pieces of shit just yet. Let's see what happens tomorrow or Sunday or whenever this match was going to happen. I'm assuming tomorrow. So they might still do something on camera. They might still do something. Maybe Roman filmed a promo, a vignette or something to oust him from the match. Maybe he said, I got a blown out knee or an injury and I can't make it. I'm picking Strowman to replace me. Something like that. But Triple H made it sound like it was going to be something cool, and it's not. And on top of that, we got this big dumb idiot, Braun Strowman, a guy that I used to be in love with, taking on Goldberg. I don't want Goldberg to be champion any more than the next guy, but Braun Strowman, I think he was put in this position only because he's the only guy out there without a match, and you know, he's a pretty big roster member, at least was at one time, and there was a point in his career where he dominated Roman Reigns, and myself and everybody else wanted this guy to be champion, and WWE fucked him up. And he's been Big Show 2.0 ever since, and he's been zero threat. He's been the guy that they put in ring with celebrities and boxers, and he does all a bunch of hokey shit, and he won the tag team belts with an 8-year-old, and everything he's done has just been shit ever since that great feud with Roman Reigns. So now he's going to come in after having a cup of coffee with the IC title, his first ever singles belt, that he immediately drops right to Sami Zayn, and he's going to randomly beat Goldberg. I hate to say this, because Goldberg is not on my happy list right now. He's on my shit list. But Goldberg needs to win. Gotta pull that dagger out of my heart. It was hard to say that. Yeah, Goldberg needs to win here. Fuck Strowman. He's not the guy. Not with any sort of pause. If there's gonna be a pause in production, it makes me nervous that you got another part-timer holding the belt hostage. But and Goldberg's gonna have to, you know, not that he doesn't stay in shape. He looks like $1 million, but he's gonna have to be prepared to come back and drop that title pretty much at a moment's notice when everything, you know, kind of eases up. So in terms of like training and preparing for a match, how does Goldberg prepare for that? I could be going back to drop the belt in 2 months, or it could be 6 months. I don't know. So how do I train? How do I keep myself in shape? Goldberg's Goldberg. Imagine me trying to give workout advice to Goldberg. That makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. I just think that even though Goldberg's old, I think he's got to hold on to the belt here. And I guess that means he'll spear and pin Strowman, I guess. Strowman is going to go down here and get beat by Goldberg. And then you do, you know, because that's what I think that's why the belt was put on Goldberg. So, you know, he could pass it to Roman, and now you're going to put it on Strowman, and then what? He's going to lose to Roman when we come back? I just don't know. Strowman's first title win should have been a long time ago. It shouldn't have been just, oh, here you go, because we got nothing else better to think of, and we're in a pickle, and here's the belt. And the only reason you're getting it is because we don't know what the fuck else to do. So that's just not the way I'd like to see him win the title. So I'm going Goldberg to retain. Which leaves us with our other title. WWE title on the line, Brock Lesnar defending against the winner of the 2020 Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre. And I had Drew pegged to win the title all along once he won the Rumble, but I did get a little bit nervous when they booked Roman and Goldberg, because I'm like, what the hell are they going to do? Have two long-haired bearded dudes that are about the same size and look a lot alike both win the title at WrestleMania and both have these identical moments? Would seem weird to me. And I got nervous for Drew McIntyre. I'm like, shit, what if Drew wins it, or what if Brock wins again and Roman gets the moment and Drew gets it some other place? But now with Roman being out and Strowman being his replacement, I'm putting the belt on Drew here. Absolutely. I would have put the belt on Drew anyway. I was just nervous about WWE's way of thinking of, oh shit, you know, do we do that or do we not do that? Wouldn't matter to me. I'd put Drew over here, even if every single babyface on the card won their matches. I'd still put Drew over here to beat Brock Lesnar, and that's what I hope he does. You know, they built him up after he was kind of doing nothing. He was having some good matches and shit on Raw, but they just weren't. We were all saying, like, push Drew. What the F's wrong with you guys? And we've seen them try to give pushes to other guys and then fuck it up, like Braun Strowman, who I just talked about. Do not Braun Strowman this guy. Do not do to Braun what you do to Drew, what you did to Braun. Please, WWE, for the love of fucking God. So put him over here. Put a champion on a new guy. Give the fans something fresh and exciting to look forward to when we do resume business in wrestling and in the world. We got a champion that doesn't want to make everybody throw up, because everybody's very anti-Brock, because he's not. I like Brock. Brock's always money. I'm always a Brock fan. But even I get tired of him being champion. And I don't want to see us go on some temporary hiatus with this guy being champion. At least give me something to want to tune back in and watch. That's what WWE needs to try to accomplish here. You realize that, right? You know, people's lives are upside down right now. If life gets back to normal, people who are hardcore wrestling fans and are dying and salivating for the product to come back we want cliffhangers here that make us excited for when wrestling does resume. Holy shit, Drew's our new champion. Can't wait to see what's next. Or holy shit, Shayna's our new champion. Or holy shit, Rhea beat Charlotte. Oh my God, could you believe that Edge and Randy Orton match? You know, I want to see things like that to where we can't wait for business to get back to normal, you know? Where if they do it the other way and Goldberg and Brock walk out of this fucking show as champion, the fans are like, I don't even care if wrestling comes back or not. Because you know that'll happen. You'll be hearing those people that are so consumed by anger, they will say things like, I hope WWE never goes back and goes out of business forever. Fuck them. Like, that's what people will say. And I don't think WWE wants that. They should do their best here to try to keep things going in a positive direction. And I think one of the main ways you do that is to crown a new champion. Even though I'd rather it be in front of 80,000 people, and I'd love for Drew to get the moment in front of a crowd. Hey, Edge isn't getting his moment in front of a crowd. Shayna and whoever else wins title isn't getting their moment either. So what makes Drew any more special than them, you know? So it's just the situation we're in. And even though Tampa and 80,000 people would have been more fun, I think this can still work. Brock will always do business, and he'll make this look as good as possible. And I'm going Drew to win the title. So that's a pretty decent mix there of faces and heels. I've got, let me see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've only out of the 17 matches or 16 matches, I think I only have 6 heels winning. So just to recap, Aleister Black over Bobby Lashley. I've got Corbin over Elias, Otis over Dolph Ziggler, Nikki and Alexa over the Kabukis to win the tag team titles, Street Profits to retain against Garza and Theory, Miz and Morrison, even though that match is not going to happen, Miz and Morrison walking out of WrestleMania as champions is what I predict there. If Morrison goes it alone or has a replacement partner or something like that, I'm still picking Miz and Morrison to either win or walk out as champs. Kevin Owens over Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan to win the Intercontinental title from Sami Zayn, Bayley to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley to retain the NXT title, even though I'm extremely nervous about that. Shayna Baszler to win the Raw Women's title over Becky Lynch, Undertaker over AJ Styles in the Boneyard match, Bray Wyatt over Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match, Edge over Randy Orton in the Last Man Standing match, Goldberg over Strowman, and Drew McIntyre over Brock Lesnar. There you go. WrestleMania 36. That is what I predict. So I'll answer a couple more questions and super chats here, and then I'll probably get out of here. Don't forget, tomorrow, live WrestleMania watch along. We go live right here as the show kicks off at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. So go get some beer or get some beer delivered. Don't go anywhere. And crack open a few and watch some wrestling with me tomorrow. Should be fun. Let me scroll all the way back up and knock out super chats. Where are we? Keep firing up them thumbs up, dudes. I appreciate it. We've got our biggest... I always have the biggest audience when I'm about to sign off. Isn't that annoying? Thank you, Zane, for another $10. Dude, I appreciate it. Congrats on 10 years on the tube. First video I ever came across was the Money in the Bank 2011 prediction. Holy shit. That was a long time ago. I don't even know what I said in that one. Been a fan ever since. Keep up the good work. Yeah, and a lot of those older videos, too, I have since deleted or made private because some of them, you know, had like copyright stuff and I didn't want to worry about it. And I didn't want to worry about any videos getting like nailed years and years later. So some of that I went in there and cleaned up. And, you know, those early days were a trip, man. We'll talk about that on the 11th and, you know, some of the early days of YouTube and how I really did not know what the fuck I was doing back then. But we got the hang of it and we built a pretty successful channel for ourselves. So hell yeah. Good. Gregory will be watching. That's good. I don't know which day, which matches are on which day. I don't think anybody knows. And the funny thing is, I gotta say this too. I've been really pleasantly surprised. I have not been tempted, or I have not seen WrestleMania spoilers. I'm sure some people have them, and if you want to dig a little, you can probably find them. But I haven't seen them, and I haven't seen them being smeared all over Twitter. Just the smaller ones, like the Strowman news. We all knew that would get leaked out of him being the replacement, and that wasn't a huge stretch or surprise anyway. So I've been pleasantly surprised I'm honestly literally going into these next 2 days not having a clue what's going to happen. So that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be tempted with the spoilers. I didn't want to see shit accidentally spoiled for me. And I'm glad that if anybody in here has known about them, you guys were all cool. I said that right up front. Let's please be cool about it. Everybody was. And now we can go into this weekend truly not knowing what's going to happen. And that's exciting. I want to try to watch this and enjoy it to the best of my ability, considering we can't leave our houses and we're all stuck here in the situation. At least we've got our weekend covered. We're busy, right? We got plans. We got a lot of shit to do over the weekend, and we'll all experience it together. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I think I'm done. I think I'm going to get out of here and kind of rest up, eat my Wheaties, drink some 5-hour energies, and get everything ready for tomorrow. And we'll be up here for a hardcore day of watch along. I'll be sitting here just like this. I'll have the show probably pulled up right here, and I'll talk with you guys on the chat, and I'll watch, and I'll drink and eat some peanuts and all that stuff. We'll have a good old time. It should be a blast. Let me just cruise over here to the chat, make sure there's nothing else I need to mention. Thanks, JL. Discover me on TV Tracks. Yeah, back in the day, TV Tracks was a big help. I'd love for him to come back. He featured myself and Solid Monster and the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show, and he sent a lot of subscribers my way because his shit had views. So people, my views were comparable to the other podcasts, even though they have bigger, especially Solid Monster. They've got bigger followings than me, but I felt like my views were comparable, and they're all. I felt in good company over there, and that definitely brought in a few thousand subscribers. So yeah, I owe him a lot, and he was relentless with my uploads, man. He put up like 500 clips of my show within 1 year, 12 months, and he was doing the same for the other podcasts. Think about how much work that is to listen to all of those shows and to clip them out, and to do that for 3 different podcasts that usually run 1 or 2 hours long each, and do that every week for years on end. Unreal. So, hope that he one day resurfaces, because he's welcome to always use my content if he wants. He was good to me. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. You guys take care. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow for WrestleMania. Wow, what a weird world. Y'all be good. Peace.